The Siege of Constantinople, 1453, where medieval meets modern in a clash of titanic proportions. This isn't just any old siege, it's the swan song of an ancient empire and the birth cry of gunpowder warfare. First off, our protagonist, Sultan Mehmed II, young and brimming with ambition, looked at Constantinople and thought, "That's a nice empire, I'll take it." Mehmed wasn't just bringing his army for a casual visit. Oh no, he came prepared with a host of 50,000 to 80,000 men, including elite janissaries and a contingent of Christian troops, not to mention a fleet ready to make waves, literally. Now, let's talk tactics. Constantinople was no stranger to sieges, having withstood them with its massive Theodosian walls for centuries. These walls were the envy of the medieval world, double-layered, 60 feet wide, with towers every 45 to 55 meters. Emperor Constantine III wasn't just relying on these ancient fortifications. He added a little Byzantine twist, a giant chain across the Golden Horn to block the Ottoman navy. Talk about medieval ingenuity. But Mehmed was not to be deterred. He brought the big guns, quite literally. The Ottomans deployed cannons capable of lobbing 600-pound stone balls over a mile, a technology that was about to change siege warfare forever. This wasn't just brute force, it was a deliberate strategy to breach walls that had stood unbroken for centuries. While the Ottomans pounded the walls with their cannons, they also attempted to undermine them with tunnels. The defenders, not to be outdone, dug counter-tunnels in a subterranean game of cat and mouse. Mehmed's naval forces, faced with the giant chain blocking their path, executed an audacious plan. They transported their ships over land, bypassing the chain and taking the Byzantines by surprise. This maneuver not only demonstrated Mehmed's resourcefulness, but also his willingness to think outside the box, or in this case, outside the chain. Constantine V, meanwhile, was frantically seeking help from the West. But due to centuries of religious and political discord, plus the small matter of Europe being busy with its own wars and conflicts, the help was too little, too late. Some Western knights and soldiers did trickle in, but they were hardly the game-changing force Constantine hoped for. As the siege wore on, it became clear that the Byzantine defenders were outmanned and outgunned. Their small number of cannons were ineffective against the Ottoman behemoths, and their troops, though valiant, were vastly outnumbered. The Ottomans, employing a mix of relentless bombardment, naval maneuvers, and ground assaults, gradually wore down the city's defenses. The final assault was a spectacle of medieval warfare and emerging gunpowder technology. The Ottoman cannons created breaches in the once impregnable walls through which Mehmed's troops poured into the city. The defenders, led by Constantine V, fought valiantly, but it was a losing battle against overwhelming odds. On May 29, 1453, Constantinople fell, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Mehmed II entered the city, not just as a conqueror, but as a harbinger of change in military strategy and technology. The fall of Constantinople was not merely the end of the Byzantine Empire, it was a turning point in history, signaling the twilight of the medieval period and the dawn of the Renaissance, with all its ensuing changes in art, culture, and warfare. In this story of underestimation and innovation, the biggest takeaway is perhaps this. When facing a determined adversary, armed with the right combination of technology, strategy, and audacity, even the mightiest walls and the most cunning plans can crumble.